The bigger the ego, the harder the fall. As good as I thought I was at football, boy, was a hard fall, getting picked up and body slammed on my back, looking up and like, I must not be that good at this. The bigger the ego, the harder the fall. But why is that so important? You just told me last week, don't think I'm bad, so that means I must think I'm good. No. Who was the one who was the most conceited person in the Bible? Lucifer, Satan, the devil. He got to a point where he thought he was so beautiful, so gorgeous, so talented, that he was as good as God. He got to that point and challenged God, challenged God's thinking, the one who created him. You guys sitting here thinking, well, that sure is stupid of him. How are you going to challenge the person that created you? I'd never do anything like that, would I? Challenge the person that created me? But wait a minute. Have we ever challenged our parents? Have we ever challenged teachers? But wait a minute. These teachers went to school to teach you what you need to know, but you're going to sit there in their classroom and challenge them. How conceited or prideful is that? How conceited and prideful is it to challenge your parents to think you know more than they do? A lot of you guys do that to us here at the youth group. Y'all challenge us. Y'all think Stan doesn't know what he's doing. You want to handle that right now? All right, you take care of that later. That's a 1-8 man I got out of him all night. But some of us do that, even as we get older. Us adults in the room aren't even better. What do? We get on a job, we're there for about 4, 5, 6 months, and you know how to run that place better than the people that have been there for 20 years. Pride, boastfulness, thinking you are better than you really are. Christ warns us against that. We saw what happened to the one person, the one being that got real prideful. I don't think any of us want to suffer that same fate. See, the point of these last couple of weeks is I don't want you sitting there in self-pity thinking you're bad, but I don't want you to put yourself all up on a pedestal thinking you're good. And see, what the enemy does, he'll use both those things. He'll use both those things because we live in a black and white society. We live in a good and bad society. We live in a right and wrong society that wants to tell you either you're a winner or you're a loser. And the enemy will use that against you. The enemy will use that against you and say either you're bad or you're good. And he can flip it on the moment. One time you can be walking here so happy about yourself, so high on yourself because you did something good. You got an A on your test. Somebody complimented you, said your hair looked good, said you had on nice shoes or a coat. Somebody told you something good and you was walking in here on cloud 9, as they say. But it takes one person to look at you wrong. One person to offend you in some way. And there you are, back down low, thinking that you're bad. See, God never called us. Go ahead, Deacon Adolph. Go ahead, Deacon Adolph. I need amen. I need another one. All right. See, God never called us to serve him on those emotional bases. God called us to have a personal friendship with him. See, a lot of times when you start thinking you're all that, thinking you're all real good, when you start thinking that you're somebody, God will send someone to pick you up, just like it happened to me, and body slam you down to where you're looking up and like all I could see was my Father. See, sometimes he brings that person or that event into your life and you're wondering why, well, why am I not successful as this person or that person? Why are things not going good for me? Well, first of all, that's probably not what God meant for you. A lot of people can't handle a great success. I was just talking to Chris about this last week. You know, people look at Michael Jackson and Britney Spears like they're just two crazy people. See, you think they're crazy, but you tell me, how would you be if from the age of 6 years old, you performed on stages across the world, had all the money you had to spend, and you didn't have any privacy in life? Some of you can't handle the little situations in your life now. How do you think you could handle a burden that someone like Michael Jackson has had in his entire life? You probably start bleaching yourself and cutting off your nose too. You don't know. But God ain't even going to give that to you because you can't handle it. How would you feel if you're Britney Spears and think about your little relationships you have right now. Think about your boyfriends or girlfriends you have and when you break up and how heartbroken you are about that breakup. How sad you feel about that breakup. Now imagine that breakup is on the front page of every magazine in the world. Imagine that breakup's on the front page of every TV and in the movies and everybody's talking about it. How do you think you would react? You cut off your hair too. You haven't had that kind of situation because God knows you can't handle it. So you're wondering why I don't have that success. A lot of people can't handle that type of success. You can look at it from a distance and wonder, wow, that person's crazy. But you know what? As they say, you've never been in their shoes. You don't know how you react in those situations. But God hasn't put you in that situation. He put you in the situation you're in. Again, and when you start having those good things, sometimes you get too prideful, he'll put you on your back so you have to look up at him and say, Father, help me. Father, help me. You're the only way that I can get out of this situation. You're my only answer. Don't get frustrated by your failures. Don't get too excited about your successes. Don't get frustrated about your failures. Don't get too excited about your successes. Because you're not as bad as sometimes you think you are. But you're not as good either. But God never asked us to do any of that. All he asked us to do is serve him. I want to end with this with Stan, you can come on back up. The worship team actually just come on back up as we kind of close.